get why everyone's freaking out. I don't get all the freakouts. Why is everybody freaking out that New York City elected a Democrat? Ooh, shocker. New Jersey elected a Democrat. Didn't we know that? I mean, if you do the math, if you look at the scenarios, everything that happened yesterday should have happened. Is it weird? Yeah. Is it extreme? Sure. You know what the biggest thing to me, you know what the biggest problem I think we have in this country is? Not that Zoran Mamdani, the communist, is in charge of New York, because I think we all pretty much saw that coming when he won, the primary. When Zoran Mamdani won the primary, everybody should have been like, whoa, what? But they didn't. That was months ago. And nobody really paid much attention to it. But now he's the mayor, and maybe some people are going to start paying attention. But you know what the worst thing to me was this Jay Jones. John Jay was one of our founding fathers. Jay Jones in Virginia. Jay Jones is the guy. He's the attorney general. He's the guy that said, I would shoot if I had a bullet with two guns and I had Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, or Pol Pot, or one of them, I don't know, and my opponent in front of me, my opponent would get 2 bullets in the back of the head. That's what he said. He's the same guy that said, you know what? We need to make, if his kids died, or his kid should die, so that he'll be anti-gun. These are until his wife is holding his dead children in their arms, they're never going to understand. These are the kinds of things that this guy said. And it's horrible. It's awful. That guy got rewarded by the Democrat Party with a big job in Virginia to be attorney general. So I feel like that's the worst of the worst. When you have somebody who's so morally corrupt, when you have somebody who's so devoid of any kind of common decency, and you elevate them to a position like, attorney general, so that you're the most powerful law. I mean, here's a guy who threatened murder on his opponent rather. And boom, they're like, that guy should be in charge of law enforcement for the entire state. I just don't get, that's the worst to me. The rest of it, I'm not at all shocked by. Chitterelli was a great guy. He wasn't going to win New Jersey. Very few Republicans can win New Jersey. Fewer can win New Jersey now because so many Republicans left New Jersey after the last time. Same with New York. There have been so many New Yorkers that have left since COVID. So many New Yorkers that have left since Kathy Hochul came in and started systematically destroying that state. They've all come to Florida. They've gone to Tennessee. They've gone elsewhere. So now you have fewer and fewer Republicans in these places, which means it's more and more difficult for any Republican to defeat the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones who stay. The Democrats stay. They win the elections and they stay. Republicans, they pack up their stuff and they get out of Dodge. And that's why there's fewer people in New York City than there were 5-6 years ago. There's fewer people in New York State than there were 5-6 years ago. There's fewer elected officials from New York because they keep losing House seats. There's fewer electoral votes from New York because they keep losing House seats. And all those electoral votes are headed toward Texas. They're headed toward Florida. They're headed toward Tennessee. They're headed toward the Carolinas. That's where people are moving. And they're leaving their politics at home. So you're going to continue to see a lot of that. But don't at all be shocked or surprised that Democrats won in blue cities and states. You know what really would have been a shock? If a Democrat had lost any of those elections. That really would have been something. And all of this bodes well for Donald Trump because it means that Donald Trump is more powerful than the Republican Party. Sure, there's a warning to the Republican Party, and that is you need more Trump-like characters. You need more strong leaders like President Donald Trump, because you know who people respect? President Donald Trump. You know who can cross the aisle? President Donald Trump. You know who can get Democrats and moderates to vote for him over Democrats and moderates? President Donald Trump. You know who can't? Chitterelli, Winsome Sears, whoever was running against Jay Jones, and Curtis Sliwa, who, by the way, Curtis Sliwa is the bigger. Curtis Sliwa, if this election had gone any differently, probably would have been blamed. For example, I think Zoran Mamdani, at the end of the day, he got 51% of the vote. And that's actually good for Curtis Sliwa, because if Curtis Sliwa had dipped out of the race, if he'd pulled his name out of the hat, or out of the beret, I guess you would say, if he said, you know what, I'll listen to everybody. I'll listen to my boss. I'll listen to Donald Trump. I'll listen to all these people, and I'll dip out of this race in New York City so that Andrew Cuomo can have a fighting chance. Andrew Cuomo still would have lost because Zoran Mamdani got 51% of the vote. So Curtis Sliwa didn't help anybody get elected. It just happened. And so he has no reason to feel bad. No one can blame him. You can blame a lot of things, but you can't blame Curtis Sliwa. What's up? This is Mark K. Saves the Republic. I should probably start there. Let me start by saying hello and thank you for downloading the show. Thanks for watching us on the live stream if you're watching on the live stream. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel. We have a lot of people every single month. I go back and I look at the subscriptions and the followers and everything else on Facebook. We've grown. We used to be at 1.2 million. Now on Facebook, we're at 1.3 million. So if you're on the Facebook, then definitely make sure you're following. And if you know what, if you're enjoying this, share it. Share it with the like-minded people who love and follow you on Facebook. Share it with your friends and family members. Share it so that all the world can enjoy what you, as a liberty, love, and freedom defending patriot, are enjoying every single day of the week for at least an hour, probably more. I'll be honest with you. I've really doubled down. The month of November and the month of December is going to be Content Palooza. You're going to be seeing me posting constantly all the time. I've upped my dosage and it's working. And there's a couple reasons why I've upped the dosage. It used to be, take 2 Mark K's and call me in the morning. Now you got constant content. But here's the thing. Things move so quickly. And I've found that not a lot of people are able to sit down and listen for an entire hour or an hour and a half, which, like yesterday, we went for an hour and 20 minutes. And I had fun and you enjoyed it, but there's a lot of people that don't get to do that. And I want them to be informed and I want them to be able to get bite-sized news nuggets. Remember Herman Cain? Herman Cain had all these great, very colorful sayings like, shucky ducky. That was one of my favorites. Shucky ducky. That was one of it. And then write that down, Shaney B. That was another one of his. He would always say that whenever he wanted Shaney B to write something down. He always had he had rapid fire because in Herman Cain's world, rapid and fire are both 2-syllable words. Rapid fire. Fire. It's a 2-syllable word. People have been saying it wrong. I was saying it wrong my whole life. Fire. I go, fire. He goes, no, fire. It's 2 words. So, and then of course he had the news nugget. News nugget. Well, news nugget is a great term. And it's something that I think had Herman Cain, if he were still with us, God rest his soul, Herman Cain would be the king of the news nugget because he understood that people needed little nuggets of news. You don't necessarily have an hour to sit down and watch the show. If you do, God love you. And I'm so glad you're here. If you don't, you still need the news. So what we're doing is we're doubling down and we're taking more news nuggets, if you will, and we're posting them across all of our platforms. And we're going to do that throughout November and throughout December because it's a crucial time. Why is it a crucial time? Well, today, by the way, we celebrate 1 year of President Donald Trump's re-election.
Exactly 1 year ago, we had that big, beautiful victory. Exactly 1 year.
Yeah, 1 year ago. Oh, that was the whole clip. that was it. Hold on. I was looking for photo. I was trying to pick up photos. I thought that's it. We got one. Here's Caroline Levitt. She also talked about how it's the 1 year anniversary. We played a little bit of this yesterday at the beginning of the press conference.
In other news, tomorrow will mark the 1 year anniversary of President Trump's historic election victory, where he won nearly 80 million votes, the popular vote, in all 7 swing states. This was the ultimate poll on November 5th. The president secured a mandate to make America great again, and he has delivered in record time. Never before have we had a president who has kept their promises like President Trump has. I'd like to go over a few of those with you. In less than 10 short months, President Trump signed the largest middle-class tax cut in history, including no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security to put more money back into the pockets of the American people. The president ended the southern border invasion of the Biden administration, made our border the most secure in history, and he is carrying out the largest mass deportation campaign of illegal aliens in our nation's history to protect our homeland, just as promised. President Trump has aggressively taken on drug cartels by declaring them as foreign terrorist organizations and even blowing up narco-terrorists who have tried to poison the American people with fentanyl and other illegal narcotics. President Trump defeated the Biden inflation crisis, and he continues to implement a pro-growth, America First economic agenda to make America affordable again. And we are seeing the results of that every day.
Yeah, we're seeing like amazing things left, right, and center from President Donald Trump and his administration in his first year. But it was a year ago. I finally found the photos I was looking for. It was a year ago that we all gathered at Sneakers for our election day party. It was a year ago that we had Patriots come together, many of them dressed up, and we watched on the big screens as the election results started coming in, and we partied. This was a couple that brought me this Trump sign. I think they brought it from Texas is where they were from, and they came to party with us, and they brought the light, which I still have in my office. I used to hang it It's a big sign that says Trump in red, white, and blue, and there's lights all over it, and it hung behind me for the longest time. But you know, the way it hung, what would happen is my head would block the T, so it just said rump. And so I moved it to the other side of the studio. I still have it though. And we were there. My whole family was there celebrating, helping me produce the show. There we were with President Donald Trump. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing day. We had so much fun. And it was, like I said, the outcome that we were all expecting. And now a year later, we have all these amazing things that we can celebrate together. But we also have some big changes. And one of them was the Zoran Mamdani, I guess you would say, the Zoran Mamdani communist takeover of New York City, which, by the way, Scott Jennings on CNN had a great way to put this.
Compliment your guy. He's the greatest actor you have. You know, he turned himself into a hood ornament for the poor and the downtrodden. He's a rich kid who is a great actor. He play acts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I can understand why. I can
I'm
understand
just
why
saying.
you'd be leery of an actor in politics.
I'm just saying, there's no other obvious Democrat. He has all the energy behind him. You talk about slicing and dicing the electorate. He's going to slice it and dice it in one way: oppressors and oppressed.
No.
And I want to find out if he has it in him to give it up. I don't think he does, because that's the energy in the Democratic Party. It's oppressors and oppressed.
No.
That's why the Jews in this city feel scared, because they know he has labeled them as the oppressors.
Well,
That's why people who create jobs in New York City are leery, because he labels them the oppressors. That is the worldview of the energy of this campaign, and it's also the
That's
worldview
not
of the energy of Democratic primaries across this country.
And that is that's pretty good way to put it. I like a hood ornament for the Democrat Party. He's a rich kid. He grew up rich, and now he's like, you know what? I hate the rich people. I love the poor people. We're going to give everything away for free. And anybody who's rich and creates jobs and is Jewish and pays taxes, they're the oppressors. And the rest of us are the oppressed. And I am going to be the mayor for the oppressed. I'm going to make sure that the oppressed people are taken care of. And all you have to do is vote for me. Free buses. Lower taxes, which, by the way, he's not going to be able to deliver on either of those. In fact, I was on Newsmax this morning. Let me play you this clip, because what a lot of people don't understand, and I mean, I guess, oh, hold on, let me close my email so we don't get interrupted so rudely anymore. But what a lot of people don't understand, or maybe they do understand, is that most voters, they don't listen, they don't pay attention, they don't know what's going on. They hear a guy come up and say free bus rides. We're going to freeze the rent. We're going to tax the rich. All this stuff. He says we're going to increase the tax on Elon Musk. We're going to get rid of all those tax incentives, and Elon Musk is going to pay for all the free buses for years. That's what he's trying to tell people. But Kathy Hochul, we were on Newsmax earlier today with Mark Lauder and Charla McBride, and they asked me, they go, Mark, what do you think about what Kathy Hochul said?
The mayor of New York City, Democrat socialist Zoran Mamdani, promises he will tax billionaires, and he needs New York Governor Kathy Hochul's approval to do so. But Hochul now backtracking. Take a listen.
We know that Mamdani does want to tax the rich more, bring it up about 2%. He can't do that on his own. You've previously said that you wouldn't be raising taxes. Have you reconsidered?
No, I would say one energetic rally does not get me to change my positions, I assure you.
Do you think the victory of Mamdani actually helps Elise Stefanik in her run for New York governor next year?
Well, I think it's cute that Kathy Hochul thinks she's still in charge of New York State. We all know it's AOC and Bernie Sanders in the far left of the party. And one energetic rally actually did get her to change her mind, because she didn't come out and endorse Zoran Mamdani until she was standing on stage at that one energetic rally, almost at gunpoint by the far left. But to your point, look, Elise Stefanik and the Republicans, if they play their cards right, are going to see an advantage. We know that Lee Zeldin, when he ran against Kathy Hochul, turned a lot of the state red. The problem is a lot of those people are fleeing. Forget Tesla, invest in U-Haul. You're going to see millions of more New Yorkers leave. And every time there's a mass exodus, that's better for the Democrats, because the Democrats that are the ones that are staying. It happened in New Jersey with Jack Ciattarelli. He lost by larger margins than he did before, because after the last election, a bunch of New Jerseyans came down here to Florida, which, by the way, Mark and Charla, I would like to remind you, Newsmax has a beautiful facility in Boca Raton.
Oh, we know.
If you're okay, all right. I'm sure you're scoping out office spaces.
We're ready.
It is beautiful, but it's a really killer. I've been to a lot of media offices. I've been to a lot of TV stations and radio stations and news organizations. Newsmax in Boca Raton Man, if you ever get the chance to swing on by, one of the nicest. You walk in, again, in Florida, there's lots of space. So you walk in and there's this huge marble lobby that takes up the whole middle of the building. It's like 5 stories high, whatever it is. There's a fountain, very peaceful and picturesque. There's big leather chairs where you can sit. Newsmax offices and studios kind of circling around, depending on who it is you're there to see. Really, really impressive. The staff, really an incredible facility. And it's in Florida. And I'll be honest with you, I would not be shocked if Newsmax moved more of their offices to Florida now that Zohran Mamdani is in charge of New York City. I wouldn't be shocked at all if more of Wall Street came down to Miami. If more of the Jewish, I guess you would say, citizens of New York started to move down here to Naples or to Tampa or wherever. Del Boca Vista, the Villages. Plenty of room in Florida. I know a lot of people would argue with me about that, but there's plenty of room in Florida for anybody who wants to live free and vote Republican. And that is something I saw our governor, Ron DeSantis, he was on Sean Hannity yesterday saying exactly that. He's saying, you can come down here, but you've got to live by our rules. And our rules are, we love the Constitution. We don't vote for Democrats. We support President Donald Trump, and we want to protect your freedoms. And if you're cool with that and you got some money, come on down to Florida, because we got whatever it is you need. And if we don't, we'll build it, because we're good at that kind of stuff. But Donald Trump said, look, we had a big victory last night. Don't even worry about it. You know what we should worry about? And one of the things actually that President Donald Trump, he posted a couple of things on his Truth Social. He was, as a lot of people would know, Donald Trump had some thoughts. He always does. And he shares his thoughts on Truth Social. And some of the thoughts he had on Truth Social came rapid fire. They were back-to-back thoughts from Donald Trump. The first one was, Trump wasn't on the ballot and shutdown were the 2 reasons that Republicans lost elections tonight, according to pollsters. Now, what does that say about President Donald Trump? It says President Donald Trump is stronger than the Republican Party. And that's probably true. You know, Donald Trump spent a lifetime branding himself and rebranding himself. Donald Trump knows how to market himself to the electorate. Donald Trump knows how to get votes, not just once, but twice. And he knows how to keep his base happy while also placating people on the other side. So Donald Trump being on the ballot, that really draws people out to an election. And if you look back 2 years ago, maybe the reason that Republicans had more luck is because Donald Trump was on the ballot. More Republicans were going out voting for him. Now, the flip side of that is the shutdown. And the shutdown is a Democrat shutdown. We can 100% wholeheartedly blame the Democrats for the shutdown. But the government being shut down in the places where the elections were being held probably helped the Democrats. Why? Well, in New York, you've got a communist ranting and raving about giving away free stuff. And if you're in the midst of a government shutdown, or you can't, get a paycheck for whatever reason, and somebody's telling you, I'm going to give you stuff for free, that's very attractive. In Virginia, half of Virginia it borders Washington, D.C. Northern Virginia is one of the bluest parts of the entire country. And Northern Virginia is where all the Democrats go and they settle outside of Washington, D.C. And they're government workers, and they're affected when Doge comes in and starts hacking away at stuff with a chainsaw. They're affected when there are government shutdowns. They're not getting their paychecks. They're not getting their supplemental insurance. They're not getting whatever it is they need. And so those people are adversely affected by these kinds of things, and they're going to vote accordingly. But for Donald Trump, he's like, look, there are reasons why, not just because of elections, but there are reasons why this shutdown needs to end. And a lot of people thought maybe the Democrats were holding out until after the election to try to drive those votes for their candidates. And now that the elections are over, maybe they'll open up the government. I don't think so. I think they're going to stand tough. I think the Democrats are going to be bolstered by this, saying, you see, we're right. Voters in blue states love us. So we're going to keep the government shut down, in which case there's really only one thing to do, and that is nuke the filibuster.
So as you know, we are in the midst of a disastrous Democrat-created government shutdown, and it is Democrat-created, but I don't think they're getting really the blame that they should. That's now officially the longest shutdown in American history. The Democrat radicals in the Senate have shown zero interest in reopening the government. And I don't think they'll act so soon. A lot of people disagree. I've been saying for the last 30 days, we've had 4 or 5 different points. Yes, sir, they're going to get it right now. We should have it done in a day. I've heard that about 4 times. I heard it after Kings. They said I was a king. And I heard it after Kings. I heard it after a couple of other moments in time. And I said, no, I don't believe so. And now I heard it's after the election. I don't believe so. I think they will. I think they're kamikaze pilots. I just got back from Japan. I talked about the kamikaze pilots. I think these guys are kamikaze. They'll take down the country if they have to.
Yeah. And so Donald Trump says, look, I don't think they didn't stop after no kings. They didn't stop after the election. They're never going to stop. They're going to keep the government shut down. They're kamikaze pilots, and they're looking to destroy and sink the United States of America. And they will destroy and sink their own careers if necessary. And so there's one thing to do, and that is get rid of the filibuster.
The biggest thing is the filibuster. We have to get the country going. We will pass legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do the filibuster, they're going to pack the court. They want at least five justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9, okay? They want new judges. They want to pack the court, and they will do it in the first day, maybe the week. Maybe they'll slow it down because there's no reason to rush. But they'll do it first week. They'll vote on this. And I have friends over there that are Democrats. I'm close to a lot of people. And I asked them about that because some people say, well, maybe they won't do that. I mean, they destroyed the career of Manchin and Sinema. And they got them out. They were the only objectors. Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day. They're going to pack the court. They're going to make D.C. a state, and they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. So now they pick up 2 states. They pick up 4 senators, okay? You think you have problems? They're going to do all of the things. They're going to pick up electoral votes. It's going to be a very, very bad situation. And it's done. It's done. As soon as they attain power.
Now, Donald Trump is not a not smart man. Does that make sense? He's a very smart man. And I think he's talking, by the way, to all the Republican senators. The Republican senators were called to the White House. They're having breakfast. They're getting fed by President Donald Trump. President Donald Trump comes out there. He shakes their hands and he goes, hey, guys, listen, you got to get rid of this filibuster. And he's sitting there. He's saying this is his sales pitch to the Republicans in Congress, saying this needs to be done. You're not going to get the votes. The Democrats are dangerous. The Democrats, they don't care about opening up the government, so we need to. And the Democrats are going to blow up the filibuster as soon as they get back so they can push. They're not going to want Republicans doing what they're doing. The Democrats will have no problem using this filibuster to their advantage, but they're not going to let the Republicans do it. And we know that because there's historical reference. And Donald Trump pointed it out. Packing the court. They wanted to do that. They had no problem with packing the court. They had no problem with statehood. It was Kristen Sinema and it was Joe Manchin, and they stopped it. And now they're gone. Their careers were ruined by their own kind because they stood up for what they believed to be right. The left only believes one thing, and that is ultimate power. So he's right about the filibuster, and he's saying, look, we got to get rid of this.
It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed for 3.25. We have 3.25 years, so that's a long time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass, make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. That's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes.
Donald Trump is saying, look, we have an opportunity here. We have an opportunity here to get rid of the filibuster, which we know is gone anyway. We know the Democrats are going to get rid of it. And if we get rid of the filibuster, then what we can do is we can pass all the legislation we want to pass, and we can do it with 51 votes. We can do it with 50 votes because we've got J.D. Vance as the tiebreaker. We can secure elections. We can get voter ID. We can make sure that illegal immigrants are not voting. We can make sure that people who aren't allowed to vote are not voting. We can make sure that people aren't voting multiple times. We can secure mail-in ballots. We can make sure that there's no more corruption in California. Donald Trump, listen, he's not a stupid guy. he's thinking way ahead. Donald Trump knows that if the Democrats are eyeing DC and Puerto Rico to become states, the Republicans could do the same thing. The Republicans could 100% do the same thing. Republicans could find places in this country or in others, territories, wherever, that are pro-Trump or pro-Republican or conservative in nature and grant them statehood. In Oregon, for example, there is a handful of counties in Oregon who for a very long time have been wanting to join Idaho, because Idaho is bright red and Oregon, Portland is just horrible. And they've been petitioning and they've been trying and they've been doing their darndest to try to create a new, they've really just wanted to be part of Idaho, but they could create a new state and bam, all of a sudden we have 2 more senators and more electoral votes. You could do something similar in California with parts of Northern California or the interior part that's not along the populated, cities along the water. You could do something with Canada. We've been talking about Alberta forever. I say make Alberta 2 states. There's enough people. There's enough cities. You've got Edmonton, Alberta. You've got Calgary. You've got millions of people there. Make it 2 states. Bring along Manitoba. Stack the states, I say. If, for example, they want to pack the court, we should pack the flag. Instead of 50 stars, we should have 54, and they should all be Republican stars. We should make it impossible for the Democrats to ever catch up. They'd have to annex or grant statehood to the entire world in order to get the number of senators we have. Don't think that Donald Trump's not thinking about this. Don't think that Donald Trump's thinking, where can we make states where there aren't any right now? What can we do? Think about all of the blue state. Virginia, for example, is mostly red. If you look at the election from yesterday, it's mostly red. The bluest parts are Richmond and DC suburbs. Okay, great. Instead, you could have West Virginia, East Virginia, and Communist Virginia. We could have 3 Virginias. If the Democrats are going to do it, the Republicans should do it first. That's Donald Trump's point. And he's saying, at this point, they leave us no choice. The government is shut down now for a record length of time.
I think it's very important. We have to get the country open. And the way we're going to do it this afternoon is to terminate the filibuster. And it's possible you're not going to do that. And I'm going to go by your wishes. You're very smart people. We're good friends. But I think it's a tremendous mistake, really. It would be a tragic mistake, actually. It's time. It's time. If I thought they weren't going to approve, I'd sort of be with you. I'd be fine. I'd be neutral to with you. But knowing that they're going to pass it as soon as they get any semblance of control, they'll pass it first thing, then it's like we have to do it first. And we have 2 years, and we'll end up with 2-3 years, and we'll have this country so perfect. We will have passed more legislation than any Congress and any group of senators or a group of congressmen. And we will get it through. They'll send it to us. We'll send it to them. It'll be a beautiful machine. Otherwise, we're just going to sit around and argue with these people all day long. And they're highly unrealistic, highly unrealistic. Many of them are radical left subversives, frankly.
I love, by the way, Donald Trump says, look, I'm going to go along with, you may not do it. I get it. I'm going to go along with what you say because you're all smart people, but it would be a tragic mistake. He's like, you should do this. I understand you may not want to do it. And if you don't do it, it's fine. You're smart. But it would be so stupid. It's one of those roller coaster. He plays with your emotions. He tells you how great you are. He tells you how smart you are. He tells you he trusts you. And then he says, by the way, unless you do what I say, you are going to make a tragic, historic mistake, which will destroy this country. And if you do what I say, you will be heralded and remembered as a hero for all eternity, because we will get everything we need to get done. We're not going to have to argue with these nitwits. We're not going to have to debate with these idiots. They're all the way on the left anyway. They're basically all communists, and it's pointless to try. I mean, think about this. It's pointless to try to run a capitalist society, a Republican form of government, when you have a bunch of communists and socialists on the other side of the aisle. They're just going to say no to everything. Donald Trump knows that. He's trying to impart that wisdom on his Republican colleagues in the Senate, and he's hoping that they stop it. And as of right now, he knows they don't have the votes, but that's where the breakfast comes in. And I don't know what he put in the syrup. I don't know what they were pouring on the pancakes, but a lot of these senators are sitting there thinking, you know what? Maybe Donald Trump's got something. Maybe the old man knows a thing or two about politics in the end. One of them is Tommy Tuberville, who's honest. Tommy Tuberville's retiring. Say that 10 times fast. Tommy Tuberville's retiring in 2 years. In 2026, Tommy Tuberville retires. That's like there's a tongue twister in there somewhere. I'll work on it and I'll get back to you. Tommy Tuberville from Alabama, who's retiring, says, "Let's do it, man. Let's get rid of this thing."
Hey everybody, I just left the White House.
Sorry, that's Jim.
With President Trump.
Yeah, that's Jim Banks. We'll get to Jim Banks in a minute. Here he is.
Okay, if we need to bust it, let's bust it. Let's knock it down to 51 and let the Senate know that, listen, the power needs to go to the president and let him get something done. If we don't, we're going to lose our country. It's going to be over with. And so he's got 3 years. He's the last Trump that we'll have in office. He's hard-nosed. He believes in this country. Let's give him some support. If he wants to blow up the filibuster, I'm all for it.
Let's bust it. If he wants to bust it, let's bust it. We need more Tommy Tuberville. I want more people who were former football coaches in the. We got a couple. We got a couple good. Well, we have Mark Wayne Mullen. He was an MMA fighter. It doesn't matter. So, but like, hey, Donald Trump wants to bust it. Let's bust it. Tommy Tuberville's like, I don't give 2 hoots. I never liked these people anyway. I never thought they were good for this country. I don't like the filibuster either. And oh yeah, I'm retiring. Trump, you want to bust this thing? I'm on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Let's bust it. Boom. Let's leave it all out on the field. That's what Tommy Tuberville's saying. Jim Banks from Indiana. Here he is. Jim Banks, a little more reserved, but he went back to his office after breakfast and he made a video and he explained that he's on board.
Hey everybody, I just left the White House, had breakfast with President Trump and my Republican Senate colleagues, and frankly, President Trump is frustrated, and so am I. It's time to reopen the government, get back to work, and do all of the things that the American people elected us to do 1 year ago from this week in the historic 2024 election. So let's get back to work. Let's do what it takes, whether that's changing the filibuster rules in the Senate, whatever it takes. We've got just over 3 years with President Trump, the greatest president of my lifetime in the White House. Let's get things done. Let's save this country and make it better for our kids and our grandkids. That's what this is all about. I'm proud to stand with President Trump. Thank you very much.
So there you go. That's Jim Banks, who, a little more reserved. I like the let's bust it. Let's bust it is a much more powerful message than, hey, everybody. But, you get the point. I hear Josh Hawley is coming around to the idea of busting up the filibuster. I hear that Bernie Moreno from Ohio is coming around to the idea of busting up the filibuster. I hear that more and more Republicans, and again, I don't know what else they talked about. I don't know what else was said, but there was clearly something going on with this breakfast, because when Donald Trump was done, you started to see these senators reacting the way that we haven't seen them in the past. And that is, maybe Donald Trump's got a point on this filibuster. Because, not only is there a lot of stuff that we're not getting passed because of this stupid government shutdown, but the stupid government shutdown is mucking up everybody's lives. No SNAP benefits, no air flights.
Millions of Americans are going to be without SNAP benefits. And I will say about SNAP benefits, so when I was president, we had $7 billion worth, and now they have many times that, because these benefits were given to anybody that asked, and they're up to, I hear, just many times, 47 billion. So it wasn't the purpose of SNAP. It was for people that really had problems, down and out, people that really had problems. But during Biden, they gave it to anybody that wanted it. I think it's something you have to talk about because the numbers are incredible. But countless public servants are now not being paid, and the air traffic control system is under increasing strain. We must get the government back open soon, and really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the hottest economy we've ever had, and it's affecting the stock market now a little bit. But the stock market, as of Friday, has hit many record highs during the last 9 months, many. And it will again. This is just the beginning, because when these plants that are being built right now start opening up, we've never had anything like this as a boom. There's a construction boom right now, but that's going to be bigger than that. That's going to be an economic boom as soon as they open up, and it's going to be something special.
So Donald Trump saying, look, we have a lot of problems that we got to deal with, and they're all related to the shutdown. And if they're related to the shutdown, that means that they're related to the Democrats, because this is a Democrat shutdown of the government. And we've got to do whatever it is we can do right now to avoid any future disruptions. We've got to get people their SNAP benefits. We've got to make sure that people are back to work. We've got to make sure that our air traffic controllers and our military are getting paid, because we're losing money. We're losing patience. We've got the holidays coming up, and the Democrats have lost their minds, which is really what it all boils down to. Why do you try to continue to negotiate with somebody, or why do you continue to try to get somebody who's clearly crazy to act sane? There's got to be a point where you just lock them in the room and throw away the key. And I think we're at that point. I think this election yesterday in New York City shows that we're at that point. A lot of people are saying, oh, the Democrats have more power than we thought. More people are siding with the Democrats. These elections show it's a referendum on Trump. No, it's not. It shows that the Democrats are crazier than ever, that the Democrats have not learned. The Democrats have not changed. The Democrats are getting worse. I mean, if you look at New York City, for example, okay, 51% of people chose Zoran Mamdani. Is that a mandate? No. Is that a referendum on anything? No. It's 51% of people picking one guy over the other two. Had he gotten 61% or 71%, yeah, that would be a whole different deal. All that shows is that there's crazy people, and there's more crazy people in New York City this time around than there was last time around. And it doesn't take that many. But now the entire city, the entire state, and the entire country, and the entire world really are going to be affected by it. New York will change dramatically. And with it, we will have to react. Donald Trump's going to have to react at the White House. Other people are going to have to react. People are going to invest less in New York City. It's going to be a crazy time for those folks. And one of the things that we all need to realize, or one of the things we should be realizing, is that it's a system of a problem that the Democrat Party is beyond hope. All we can do is look at these people and say there's no working with them. Even Chuck Schumer, who 14 times in his life was able to see that voting for a CR and keeping the government open was the right way to go. Even Chuck Schumer has now been totally tainted by the far left. He's been scared poopless. He knows his career's over. Whatever it is that AOC and Bernie Sanders told him, he believes it. And he knows there's no way out for him. So he's going to just play ball with the people who are really in charge. And when that happens, you can't really do anything except, take care of yourself and pray. And dealing with these folks is just a waste of time. That's what Donald Trump's trying to tell everybody. It's a waste of time. It's kind of like trying to figure out Bitcoin. Did you see Bitcoin on the downward spiral yesterday? Bitcoin at last night, I want to say, plummeted. It nosedived under 100,000. It's back up over 100,000, but it's nowhere near what it was. Bitcoin, it was a roller coaster. I went on X and I saw all these people panicking because Bitcoin was plummeting. It was diving. It was a nosedive. And now people are like, okay, well, hopefully it'll get back up and I'll make all this money back. I'll tell you what didn't nosedive: gold. I'll tell you what rarely ever nosedives. In fact, I don't think it has ever nosedived, is gold. Because gold is a safe, secure, long-term investment. It's what they call a safe haven investment. And if you look back over the last year since President Donald Trump was elected, in 1 year, gold has increased 25%. And I know that because my friends at Augusta Precious Metals told me that. And they actually showed me the proof. I've seen the graphs. So I've talked to the experts. Augusta Precious Metals, they have gold and silver IRAs, which will protect a lot of Bitcoin people right now are like, maybe I shouldn't have bought all this Bitcoin. A lot of people in the stock market are like, maybe I should not be in the stock market. What's safer? What's going to earn me a return on my investment and also be well protected from any kind of financial back and forth, up and down shenanigans? The answer is gold and precious metals. And the place to go is getmarksgold.com. Getmarksgold.com will take you right to Augusta Precious Metals. You can get all the free information you need to open up your gold and silver IRA and put your money in a place that's not going to yo-yo. Roller coasters are fun at the theme park. They're fun at Harry Potter World. It's not fun when it's your money that's riding around, going up and down, up and down. You're getting all stressed. You have no idea what's happening. That's not fun at all. Go to getmarksgold.com and find out how you can invest in gold and safeguard your family's future and your family's future investments. Let's talk a little bit about Zoran Mamdani. Zoran Mamdani yesterday was elected to be the next mayor of New York City, and immediately he was hacked. This is his campaign headquarters. Look at the screen. It says, "Trump is your president." We're not sure who did this. Somebody hacked it. Somebody put up Trump as your president, and as soon as it happened, listen to the place. They're so mad. They're so mad. They saw it was like a screen that said Zoran, yay, whatever. All of a sudden, Trump as your president comes up. People take notice. They start thumbing it down. They start pointing at the screen, and then they start booing. Boo. Anyway, that was just moments before Zoran Mamdani came out to talk to all of his supporters and say thank you for this victory. It was again a fun surprise for people like me and for probably people like you, but it was not again, we don't know who did it. That was an image, by the way, that was posted on the White House's official X account just a few hours prior, but anybody could have ripped it off of their X account and hacked into Zoran's screen and put it up there. Doesn't mean that it was Donald Trump. It doesn't mean it was the White House, but man, how great would it be if it was? Mike Johnson he was asked about it. He's optimistic. Mike Johnson says he's optimistic about Zoran Mamdani, or about the future of the Republican Party, with Zoran Mamdani being the face of the Democrat Party.
Republican side, and it will be even more favorable once all the redistricting stuff is settled down. We have Democrats who are flailing. They have no leader. Their national leader now, as we've noted, is Mamdani. He's a communist. Good luck with that.
Yeah. So he's saying, look, he's a communist. He's the face of the Democrat Party. Good luck with that. That's Mike Johnson's whole, good luck with that. Good luck with whatever you're doing. We'll see how that works out for you. And, history is going to tell us how it works out. Typically, what we've seen with Democrats is there is a lower tolerance for Democrat inaction than there is for Republican inaction. Let me explain what I mean by that. There is, for example, and I'll use, let's say Joe Biden, for example. People did not like Donald Trump because the media told them not to like Donald Trump. Donald Trump was blamed for COVID, even though he shut down. Donald Trump said, hey, there's something coming in from China. We've got to shut down all the flights from China. And everybody on the left freaked out saying Donald Trump was a racist. Donald Trump was a xenophobe. Donald Trump, he just didn't like people from Asia. So he was shutting down the airport. He's racially profiling. And you have to let these Chinese people in, even if they've got some kind of deadly unknown disease that could cause a pandemic. Donald Trump said, we've got to shut down the airports. People said, no, you're a racist. So what did he do? People started coming to the country. They started bringing COVID. People started dying. They blamed President Donald Trump. Then they said, we need somebody that can beat Donald Trump. Let's get Joe Biden off the mothballs. Let's throw him in the basement, turn on a Zoom camera, see if we can't win this thing. And hey, you know what? If he can't win it on his own, we've got some ideas on how we can help. And so they beat Donald Trump. They told everybody, Joe Biden's your guy. And so everyone was like, yeah, Donald Trump's horrible. Yeah, Donald Trump, he's the worst. Donald Trump got impeached. He'd Russia collusion, blah, 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 bliggity, blah. And so Joe Biden became the president. 4 years later, people hated Joe Biden. The same people who voted for Joe Biden hated Joe Biden. They had a very low tolerance. They thought Joe Biden was an ineffective leader. They thought Joe Biden was corrupt. They thought he was old and demented. They didn't think that he was doing enough. Bidenflation destroyed everything. Illegals were killing people on their streets. There was crime running rampant. People were taking over apartment buildings in Aurora, Colorado, in Springfield, Ohio. They were eating the cats and eating the dogs and eating the pets of the people who live there. It was mass chaos. In New York City, by the way, which I should point out, just went commie, they took over entire hotels and gave them free of charge to illegal immigrants, taking the tax dollars away from hardworking Americans and New Yorkers. And when Eric Adams said, stop it, they ran him out of office and tried to charge him with crimes. That's how the Democrat Party operates. So people got fed up with Joe Biden. And Joe Biden's people knew it, so they got rid of him and they put in Kamala Harris, but people weren't falling for it. They knew she was part of the problem. And they had a low tolerance for the inaction of the Democrat Party, so they did what anyone else would do, and they looked for strong leadership, and they voted for President Donald Trump. Donald Trump is back. And people are willing to, he's done so much. He's been so effective in the first year. He's got 3 years left. In another year, in another 2 years, if they get rid of the filibuster, if he gets his legislation pushed through, then Donald Trump will be in a position to be one of the most effective presidents ever. And he's right that if you do a lot of stuff for a lot of people and economically their situation gets better, then in that scenario, you will benefit. People will reward you. They'll reward you by electing you to more terms. They'll reward you by electing people you say to elect to other offices. They'll reward you by giving you more time in office. And he knows that. And so that's what Donald Trump is trying to do. With Zoran Mamdani, he's promised free buses that he can't deliver. He's promised to freeze the rents, which he can't deliver. He's promised tax cuts, which he can't deliver. And if he doesn't deliver them in the next year or 2 years, 3 tops, there's going to be a revolt. And people will find some other unwitting Democrat to come in and oust him from power. If the city becomes crime-ridden, like we know the city will be because he hates the police, he wants to defund them, he hates law and order, there will be entire neighborhoods that the police are not allowed to go to anymore. Much like in London, where the police have abandoned entire city blocks where people are told not to go. If you're a white person, if you're a Christian, you're told not to go there. If you're a Jew, you shouldn't even probably be in London anymore anyway. It's just not safe. And the immigrant population, mostly from the Middle East, runs the territory. And they don't put up with the police, and the police have ceded it to them. And I imagine there'll be parts of New York that are very, very similar to that here in the next few years. And people will get fed up with it. Whoever's left, most people will just leave. Because what redeeming quality does New York City have left? Really, I mean, think about it. What redeeming quality? Okay, it's cramped. There's a lot of people there, fewer people than there ever have been before, but there's still a lot of people there. The apartments are small and they're expensive. Taxes are through the roof. You pay more for tax in New York City than anywhere else in the entire world. So you got that going for you. So you've got no space. You've got too many people. You're paying out the wazoo. It's expensive to live there. It's expensive to travel. It's expensive to eat. You've got all these immigrants coming in, and now you're going to defund the police. Now you're going to make it less safe. You're going to make the buses for free. Do you know what happens when the buses are free? Anybody can get on them. Do you know what happens when anyone can get on the buses? They're not safe. If you've got people that have no money, criminals who are just riding around, they're going to jump on these buses for free. They're going to go up and down. They're going to go to the parts of town that used to be safe. They're going to infiltrate every part of the city. They're going to have carte blanche. If you have criminal elements in, I don't know, on the Lower East Side, Alphabet City, if you've got criminal elements in parts of Queens or the Bronx, and now they can get on a bus and ride down into Midtown Manhattan and harass tourists and break into places and do whatever they want to do, they're going to do it. Why? The buses are free. Thanks to Zoran Mamdani. So people are going to have a low tolerance. And what's going to happen is New Yorkers are going to look at it and say, I could stay here and fight, or I could just give it up. And I could go to Florida. I could stay here and fight, or I could just get on with my life and restart anew in a place where this kind of stuff doesn't happen, where there's no tolerance for this. And that's what a lot of people are going to do. And that's why New York City will continue to change. It will organically shift, and it will be unrecognizable. And when it is, Democrats are going to throw Zoran Mamdani out, and they're going to bring in somebody new. That is, if there's enough of them left. If there's enough of them left. We'll see what happens. Hey, listen, we're getting some amazingly generous super chats coming in here, and I wanted to share them with you. BT Dubs, sorry, Keith, dropped us a $2 super chat, which is very nice. Writing Trump, Trump, Trump. Thank you, BT Dubs. We appreciate. Thank you, BT Dubs. Sorry, Keith. We definitely appreciate. There's a long story behind that one, and we'll tell it one day. And then check this one out. Jennifer Lawson dropped a $100 super chat. Jennifer Lawson dropped a $100 super chat and wrote, "Thank you, Mark. Let's pull up our britches and go American for the great USA." Jennifer Lawson, thank you so much for that super chat. And thank you for that great message. Yeah, there's work to be done, We got to pull up our britches. We got to go to work for the good old USA. We need to make sure that we protect this country. That's why we're here every single day. And Jennifer Lawson, that is going to help. And like I say, it's fun what we do here, but it is a job. And for the hour or hour and a half that we're live every single day, there's 8 to 9 to 10 hours that goes in to Patriot Media. And we are a growing media empire, but we definitely still need all the help we can get. So your super chats come in handy. And just know, BT Dubs and Jennifer Lawson, that every dime that you give to us goes right back into this program, so that we're not going to go anywhere, so that we're here every single day when you need the information, when you need the inspiration, when you need to know how it is that you can do your part to help save the country. And we do really appreciate that. Speaking of your generosity, I did want to mention that we have a great opportunity for you to help out our charity this holiday season called K's Kids. And K's Kids, for those of you that are new to the program or have never been part of our Ho Ho Hold'em charity poker tournament, every Christmas we get 12 kids who are suffering from life-threatening illnesses. These are kids that are battling cancer and leukemia and sickle cell disease and all kinds of things you've never even heard of. I mean, we've met kids with diseases I didn't even know existed that only a few people in the entire world have. Rare syndromes that could take their lives, and unfortunately, in many cases, have. We had K's Kids from last Christmas that we were able to bring in and talk to and interview and get to know and surprise them with gifts, and unfortunately, they're no longer with us. We met them last Christmas, and this Christmas, they're with the Lord. And that is, that is part of it. But that's why it's so important what we do. And one of the things we do, in fact, the big thing we do every single year, is the Ho Ho Hold'em charity poker tournament. And this year it's Thursday, December the 4th. Now what happens is we play poker and all the money we raise goes to K's Kids, and we raise a lot of money. We raise enough money to take care of K's Kids and Dreams Come True, which is our parent company. We're a special times program of Dreams Come True Incorporated of Jacksonville, and they are one of the best organizations ever. But this poker tournament is great. You come out, you play poker. We have cash prizes, among others. The grand prize is $1,000 cash, meaning you buy a ticket, you come in, you win, you walk out with $1,000 cash and a very cool trophy as well. And that is something that we've been doing for, I think, gosh, are we on our 10th year now? We had to skip the COVID year because, COVID. But I think we're on our 10th year now. Also, we have a VIK table, which is thebomb.com. And if you want to sit at the VIK table, let me just tell you what happens. I am at the VIK table. I am at the center of the VIK table the entire night, and I am playing poker with all of our very important Patriots. If you would like a ticket at that table, you can get one, but there's only 6 of them. Hannah will join me as well at the VIK table this year, and you'll get to play with both of us. You get a special VIK prize pack. You get extra drink tickets. And this is the coolest part. You get to play on the live stream table so that you're part of the live broadcast, which goes out worldwide. Worldwide. You will be broadcast all over so that all of your friends and family can see how great you are at poker. And let me tell you, it is such an exciting time. There are only 6 VIK tickets available because, like I said, the table's seat 8. I sit in one chair, Hannah sits in another, that leaves 6 seats. Otherwise, you can get a regular admission single ticket. You can get a full table for if you have a bunch of friends, you guys can get together and get a full table. If you own a business, get together and get a full table. Or if you just want to come and watch, get a spectator seat too, because those are always a lot of fun. But there's food, there's drinks, there's camaraderie. It is a blast. Ask anybody who's ever been there. If you're watching on the stream and you've been to one, go in the chat and tell everybody how awesome it is. If you haven't yet gotten your ticket, go ahead and get your ticket. www.kskids.com is where you go. www, very important you put that in, .kskids.com. There's also a link in the show notes. So you can just go down to the show notes or to the description of this video and you can click on that and you can get your ticket and you can join us on December the 4th. Now, a lot of people say, but Mark K., I love you. I love the show. I love America. I love the kids. I don't know how to play poker. It doesn't matter. We have lessons. This is not like a profession. We don't allow professionals. There's, for the first couple of years, people would wander in from the poker room and they drop down their money and they try to just take advantage of us. But we got rid of all that. That's why we pre-sell all of our tickets. There's no walk-ups available. You've got to pre-sell. You've got to buy your ticket ahead of time. But that makes it so much fun because it's basically you and a bunch of people like you and a bunch of amateurs and soccer moms and folks like that. And we are playing poker for fun. There are lessons beforehand so you can learn. You can use the little cheat sheet. We'll give you the little cheat sheet. And again, nobody is out there to try to get the title. We're all out there to help kids have a blast and enjoy the holidays. It's the Ho Ho Hold'em Charity Poker Tournament. Get your tickets. Go to www.kskids.com. Grab one of those VIK tickets. Oh, these are all, by the way, tax deductible. I should point that out. It's for charity. You'll get a receipt from Dreams Come True, and it is 100% a tax deductible donation. So if you're looking for something fun for your business to help to have some fun with your clients or to thank them and your employees, this is a great thing This is a great way to do it. Go to www.kskids.com. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to this channel too, because we do this every single day for a reason. Every single day, there's a reason to come together and talk about where the threats are. And today we see there's a lot of threats. Today we see there's still a lot of Democrats out there who just want to do bad things to the United States of America. There's still a lot of folks out there who think capitalism and Christianity are bad. And we want to make sure that they know there's more of us than they are of them. And we need to make sure that there are more of us than there are of them. So subscribe to this channel, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to this content so that every single day you can listen to this amazing broadcast where we tell you who's coming at you, how to fight back, where the threats are, how to neutralize them, and how, if we all stick together every single day, we can stay entertained and we can stay informed and we can stay sharp and we can stay ready to fight so we can save the Republic. Okay, go to kskids.com, www.kskids.com. Get your ticket for the VIK. By the way, if you want to sit next to me, we're going to do assigned seating. So if you want to sit next to me, you got to be one of the first people. You got to have to be I only have one person. I guess I could sit next to two. Okay. The first two people get to sit next to me. The first person will put right in between me and Hannah. So you'll have like one of us on either side. So the first VIK ticket sold gets to sit between me and Hannah, or Hannah and me. And then the next ticket gets to sit on my left. And then the other ticket will get to sit on Hannah's right. And then we'll go around the table. So if you don't just want to be a very important Patriot and play at the table and be live streamed and get the swag bag and get the extra drink tickets, if you don't want all of that, you want more, then be the first to get your VIK ticket and we'll put you right in the center of the table. I'm so excited for you. Go do that now. www.kskids.com.